barns that are here. Yeah, it is, sorry. That's all right. On the plat, this shows where everything will be located. You come in the property here, the existing shop. What is that one? Horse barn, the dog barn, sorry. And your new home is going right here. Okay. And this will be the new home, right in the center. It meets all the setback requirements. Your approval, we'd also take this to the Board of Commissioners on December 10th.
Okay. Questions for the proponent or staff?
I make a motion to approve.
Well, let's ask for, is there anybody else from the public here that wants to comment on this proposal? Okay, seeing none.
I make a motion to approve.
Make a recommendation to approve the, recommend the commission to approve the variance based on conditions that are contained in the...
Yeah, the conditions that the other house is removed per all ordinances.
Yeah, new septic system be constructed, existing power line and water line be extended. Construction is complete and no occupancy allowed in the structure until the mobile home rendered uninhabitable. Disconnect from water.
Yep. Within a year, I believe we have a year or two.
The home?
With the variance, we have a year. Okay.
Is that enough time?
Yeah. Discussion on the motion.
I'll second that motion.
Second, thank you. Any discussion on the motion? Questions? You have proponents of All right, seeing no discussion, having a motion to approve or recommend approval to the commission based on those conditions. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none, that passes unanimously. Thanks for coming in. Good luck with the house.
Yep.
Okay, we'll go to item B, accessory dwelling unit, lot 8 of Sandlake Estate.
Tracy Cons came to me with a variance to build his 1,000 square foot ADU home within the shop that he is currently constructing. He came in for a variance granted November 28th of 2023 for a standalone 1,000 square foot ADU structure. So we are here to, so currently we do have, the shop is being built. So currently this is, the full thing is a shop which is permitted through my office with a building permit as just a shop. There's the shop drawings don't have any interior. He is proposing to put the 1,000 square foot unit with this on this portion of the shop, which is allowable. Usually we allow the 800 square foot unit ADUs within a shop. Our ordinance does allow an ADU within a shop, existing house, or above a garage, or built freestanding. When we came in for the variance initially, it was as a freestanding unit, so he's has a couple options that he'd like you to consider. Either move forward with the 1,000 square foot unit within the shop, or not to build it in the shop and remove his 800 square foot ADU and proceed with replatting of the property. Tracy discussed all of his options. Did you want me to open anything, or?
If you go down, I think there's a,
Yep.
right there, there's that
Letter?
picture. Oh,
Oh.
no, one right there.
What?
Yeah, that one right. That's what's currently there. Basically, well, we worked on this for quite some time, and we were asking for a 1,000 square foot ADU, so we wouldn't have to subdivide the property. And we were granted that 1,000 square foot ADU. There was a misunderstanding on my part that the 1,000 square feet was standalone. I don't think we ever talked about a standalone. But when I went to get a building permit, I was denied a building permit because the ADU was not specifically specified as being within a shop. The current ordinance, I believe it's Ordinance 34, does state that an ADU can be within a shop, but, well, since we didn't have the verbiage of being within a shop, I got denied the building permit. So wanting to move along with the project, I got a permit for the shop, which you see there. That was 3 weeks ago, so it's a little farther off now. But what I'd like to do is put that 1,000 square feet within this shop, this existing building. Options, if we don't, would be to, we could go over 3 feet and put a 1,000 square foot structure right next to this one. It just has to be 3 foot apart. But I really don't want any more footprint if possible, and the shop's there. It just makes sense to do the approved 1,000 square feet ADU within this structure.
Yeah, well, I seem to recall talking about that being a freestanding structure. And I think that's actually what had been kind of the diagram structure itself.
Yeah, the diagram that I submitted was just the living, because I understood that we were just doing a variance on the living itself with the ordinance stating, but I guess I was misunderstood.
Is there anybody else to speak to this variance today? Questions from Mr. Collins?
The picture that we're seeing, is that the shop or the ADU?
That is, the left would be the ADU and the right would be the shop.
How big is that that whole structure?
That whole structure is 36 by 76. The higher there, you can see where it goes up. If you remember, we were talking about this being my son's place to reside, and the higher structure is for his Matco tool truck. And then there's a couple rooms in the within the shop for him to use as office and a tool storage room.
What we're looking at, was that prior to the building permit?
What's that?
This, what we're looking at, was that constructed prior to the building permit?
This has been constructed in the last 30 days, I think. We came in for the building permit. The building permit for the ADU within that was denied because of the within the shop verbiage. So I applied for a permit for the outside structure. So right now it's an outside structure with nothing on the inside.
That taller part, is that connected?
What's that?
That taller part, is that
connected?
connected?
That's connected. We just hadn't, on this picture we hadn't had the trusses on, but it's all connected one piece. There you go, yep.
So would the office, Tanya, the office portion and all that, would that be considered part of the AUD?
No, they haven't been in the past. The last ADUs I have looked up, they have not been part of it. And habitable residential use that have been issued in the past.
So a shop office is part of the home section.
Not how it's been used.
In this drawing there, how far does your ADU part come over to that front door? There's two windows in the door?
Yeah, there's two windows and a door there, and the wall going back is about in the middle of that, there's that middle walk-through door. There's a wall on the left-hand side of that goes back.
So you didn't give us inside,
Oh, there
show
you
us the inside.
Yeah,
Oh, here we go.
Yep. Yeah, there's the two walk-through doors in the front. Yep.
Questions?
So I just want to make sure I'm clear. So the picture that what's been constructed thus far appears to me to be the ADU on the left side, the sheathing and the door frames, the door
Correct.
frame and the window frames.
Yes.
So the building permit that was issued
Mm-hmm.
has no interior to it. So it's just a shop shell, and I
Mhm.
cannot deny a building permit on a shop shell.
Yeah, it'd have to get a
Um,
new building
So
permit.
when he comes back in for the new building permit, if it's granted, he will have to resubmit a set of plans with the interior walls and everything and pay the additional permit fee. So right now, he's just paid a fee,
Mm-hmm.
a permit fee just for the shop. He doesn't have septic on it. There's none of that yet. It's just electrical, concrete floor, and a shop shell.
Okay.
That's all it is.
All right. Thank you.
I have to echo that. It always concerns me when they're throwing an office in there and finishing it. Somebody connives around. Are you going to have separate heating units between the shop and the ADU, or how are you going to?
They would, we have them units over there because we needed heat. They weren't going to be separate heating units. No, the one heating unit, the mechanical room there, would heat that, and that's kind of the way I put it out. But it's a separate entrance into those areas from the shop area. You can't access those areas from the house
Without walking through the garage.
without walking through the garage. Yep.
Additional questions?
And with that variance, the variance of the 1,000 square feet, there was some additional stipulations that the ADU could never be rented and it could never be subdivided, and then it had a 30-foot setback from the side. And if we just added that it could be within a shop, those stipulations would still stand.
Follow-up questions?
Yeah, to Tanya, so is this revising a variance or is it creating a new variance?
Basically a new variant.
The new variance on, I wasn't sure, so
Okay.
we just added it as, I didn't know which way it would go. So he did reapply for the whole application, did the new certified mailings, he did the new process for a variance.
And we've not heard a response from the neighbors?
And I did send the letter to all of the residents within the Savvy Estates. So there's 4 adjoining landowners, and then the other 4 lots, I also sent it to them.
No, there was no comments from the neighbors.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Uh-huh. That is the entrance from the shop, and that is also part of the 1,000 square feet. That is counted in the 1,000 square feet. Yes. It is accessible from inside the shop, yes. The house is accessible from inside the shop, and the office and tool room is accessible from in the shop, but one is not accessible to the other without going out into the shop.
Is your home,
Below the mudroom, that is just the door. That's nothing there. That's just a shelf, and that's just a door being open. It shows that the door swings open.
your heating and your mechanical, your hot water heater and all that, is that within the 1,000 square feet?
Yes,
So you have a room for all your heating and all your things inside the square foot?
yes.
Right off the mudroom there.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So, what the three items we had on before was the 30-foot setback cannot rent, and what was the other one?
Can never be subdivided.
Property cannot be subdivided.
So, I'd be inclined if somebody would make a motion or consider recommending to the commission. I think you would also want to recommend that restriction be put on that the office and the tool room could not be converted or used.
Would you want it limited to the office or anything in regard to the shop?
Well, I mean,
I think it would be.
Garage,
I think it would be anything more than 1,000 square feet, which
Yeah,
with the living it would be 995 square feet. So there's only 5 square feet to play with. So nothing more than 1,000 square feet could ever be finished.
yeah. Well, but you're going to finish the office.
It'll be finished, yes. It just won't be living, yes.
So, yeah, going to Roger's point, I think,
Living space included in the shop,
yeah, no residential type activity.
residential.
Converting.
I move we recommend approval of this variance on the conditions that the ADU must be at least 30 feet from side lot line. It cannot be used as a rental. The property cannot be subdivided. And no space in the shop area may be used for residential purposes.
Is there a second? Discussion. Comment? Keep moving over. Okay. All right. And I believe I asked if there's anybody here to speak to it, and I got no responses. Make sure I did. This is a recommendation to the commission. Majority, those in favor of the motion as set forth, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That's up unanimously.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, we'll go to C, approach separation. Kevin and Lori Collins.
This was seen last month as a preliminary plat. Also, during the preliminary plat, we noticed we were missing a variance to the approach separation. It's Pleasant Valley Drive is a collector road requiring 500 lineal foot driveway separation. I have met Highway Superintendent Troy out there on site. Discussed the distance spacing between the approaches, and we thought the safe distance that we chose is possible with some engineering be provide. That includes approach location, culvert size, driveway, and approach grade, proposed grading, and building location that shows where the runoff will go. The driveway will be located in the northeast corner up here, and it's labeled on the plat at 75 foot in length, and that does work. There's another approach. That's on the east side, and there's another one kind of on the west. They all intersect right there. As you go south down Valley Drive Lane, they get a little. If we were to put one correctly, you end up with a blind corner, and there's some trees and stuff. So we didn't think that was a great idea. This was the better place for the approach to be. There are some existing approaches on the east side of Pleasant Valley Drive that do not have approach permits. So at those times, we can ask this one to be removed if we feel we're getting too close with approaches. And that this was just a variance that was needed to continue forward with the preliminary plat.
There's a request for engineering. What's the idea? Because I don't see the engineering hasn't been done.
Has not. So when the approach permit comes in, that we request that the applicant bring the engineering with it. It's the grade. The grade is steep and the amount of runoff.
Oh, coming off the property.
Coming off the property and down the ditch.
So the planning is comfortable that you can put that on for approval of the. You guys will make a call as whether the engineering. You and Troy will make a call as whether the engineering is sufficient.
Yep.
Permit. This would not let them issue the permit. Give them a variance so they wouldn't have to.
Correct. And it helps by adding the dedication of the 27-foot wide dedicated public right-of-way. It gets the approach back a little bit further so they have more land to work with.
Shannon, baseline surveying, representing the Collins here. No, I really don't. I think Tanya covered it pretty well. So it does make it tough in these situations for approach separation to meet that, especially when we have a lot of approaches that, you know, landowners, they just make approaches without approach permits, and they have two approaches, and then nobody can have any. So, but anyways, but I think Tanya and Troy kind of looked at this one at the right, how to, you know, make it work. So I don't have anything else to add.
Okay. Anybody else to speak to this today? Okay. Any questions for staff or Shannon? All right, I'd entertain a motion.
Design.
Yep. Yeah, move to recommend the commission to approve the variance subject to them providing engineering at the time they submit the permit.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion on the motion. Okay. Any questions or issues with what the motion passed? Does that cover everything staff?
Yes.
The highway superintendent's already set forth what he. All right. Any further discussion? Seeing none. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you.
Next item. Variance request on fire suppression requirement.
So during the preliminary plat presentation in November, another variance was discussed for the fire suppression to subdivide the 9 lots into three 3-acre lots. Ordinance 33, Article 7672 requires that a 30,000 gallon storage tank and dry hydrant system be installed. Currently, Bachelor subdivision consists of mixed density with 16 lots already platted. By platting 3 additional lots, you'll have 18 in total in this subdivision. The plat was held to a medium density standard due to the 3-acre lots. Size, Bear Butte Valley Water is the water source out there and does not allow a hydrant to be tapped off of their system. So we were asking that the variance be waived to require the 30,000 gallon fire suppression system and the dry hydrant.
You're not asking.
I'm not asking, the client is asking, the applicant.
Opponents, yeah, not your client.
Or, sorry, the applicant is requesting it.
Identify yourself as we'll go into discussion.
I'm Jeff Orr. When I bought that land originally, I wanted to subdivide it 3 ways, sell off 2, and build a structure, build our home there. And as we got through everything, building on that is going to be more money than. So I'm right now wanting to sell that off to Adam and purchase a home here in Sturgis. I have my wife and daughter here. My daughter's been going to school at Sturgis Brown, and my wife works for Monument Health. And if I don't sell this, we're probably not going to be able to buy a home here. But when I originally bought this lot, I came to the clerk. The clerk, I know, doesn't have full say in how to subdivide, but she told me as long as we didn't subdivide it more than 3 ways, we wouldn't have to do this water on it. I realize that it's you that has that say, but that's why I originally bought the property, is so we could subdivide it 3 ways, sell 2 off, and build on the one.
Is there anybody else here to speak to this proposal today? Okay, so I'll get to you, but I'm going to ask you, get any questions for the proponents before we bring up.
Well, and I'd just like to make one more point. In the ordinance, I mean, I think the intent was basically for fire suppression for his continuous road systems throughout his subdivision. So when I look at this, whether it's called the same subdivision name or not, and it has more than 18 lots, I just think the intent is for an investor or somebody that's reaping the benefits from 6 or 12 lots to create this the fire suppression need. So I just think in this situation it's 3 lots. So again, I don't think the need, or it shouldn't even be in the ordinance, or the requirement should really be there technically. So because this road is a dead end road, everybody else's lots come off of another dead end road. So there's no roads that actually connect and connect these lots as a subdivision. So other than Bighorn, but
Shannon,
that's my point.
How do you stop somebody from doing 9-acre lots and then just telling everybody they can subdivide, and then they can just skate through and not meet any of these requirements?
I don't know how you do
a lot
that.
at a time.
Right.
So if I get a developer who comes in and does 5 lots at a time, I can never make him meet any standards.
Right. I mean, maybe we just need to change the ordinance, but
I think the intent is safety, and when you get X amount of places out there, they want fire protection. It's not who actually is developing the smaller amount of lots, but you finally get X amount of people in an area. The county is requiring, for safety purposes, there be some sort of fire protection.
But if this piece of land, sorry, no,
I just go ahead. No.
But if this piece of land wasn't in the Dockler subdivision, we wouldn't even have having this discussion. If it was just a 9-acre lot,
changed. That's where the ordinance
named something else, then we wouldn't even be here having this discussion. So that's kind of my point, because we're only doing the 3 lots. So
you're subdividing a previously subdivided lot. You're re-subdividing.
Correct.
You're not taking an aliquot description and making it.
No. I'm just saying subdivision name, just that period. So.
Careful what you ask for. You might get this on every lot. All right, so any other questions for proponents? Any other comments that any of you gentlemen have before I bring up the other people to speak? You'll get a chance to come back and make a comment on any of their comments if you so desire. Okay. All right. So I saw some hands in the back. Who's going to be the first? So.
Good afternoon.
State who you are and your interest in this. Why you're interested in this. And then
My name is Kelly Schultz, and I live on Bighorn Road with property on Avalanche Road here in Meade County. I come before you today for myself and my family, as well as many of our neighbors who are here today and were unable to attend. According and in regards to the variance being requested on that parcel 1269 D1DA. It's like we had kind of talked about what you guys had discussed. It's our understanding that they're wanting to divide the 9 acres into 3-acre lots. And we have done our research as well. And according to that Ordinance 20, Article 4, 4.3, that defines our Dackler subdivision, would then be considered a medium density subdivision. Through our research for today's meeting, my husband and I found that Mayhoffy's land was subdivided at one point, leaving them with a 3-acre lot, and thus by technicality we would then be considered a medium density subdivision. We were curious if that ordinance was in place at the time the variance was granted. We were unaware, all of us as neighbors were unaware that we were considered medium density at this time. And if so, what were the reasons for that ordinance wasn't upheld at that time? My husband has developed several properties within Meade County, and we have become very aware of the ordinances that are required when taking on a project such as this. In our Meade County Ordinance 307672, it states that a subdivision firefighting cistern and dry hydrant system requirements are as follows for that medium subdivision, like Tanya had talked about. And so that 7674 also states that lot splits within an existing subdivision will be applied to the requirements above and will be counted as an additional lot or lots to the subdivision. It will be the responsibility of the property owner creating the lot split to comply with the requirements of Section 76. These ordinances were revised on May of 2022, and this property that we are discussing today was purchased after they were put in place. So my husband and I recently had the pleasure of following our county ordinances and had to hire a professional architect for the inspection of the build of our house. Whether I agreed with that ordinance or not, I was still required to do this by this board. I really don't care if he divides that lot into 3 lots. What I do care about is that they have to follow the same ordinances that the rest of us must follow. If you grant this variance, are you prepared to grant the same variance to at least 5 more of us that would love to do this within the Dackler subdivision? As far as I can see, the only reason for that variance is a financial gain, and that's really no excuse to be exempt from the rules. You have created ordinances within Meade County for a reason. They are there to promote safety, health, convenience, and general welfare to help provide the harmonious development of the county and its environments. And might I remind you, we have had a fire within our subdivision, and it took the fire department a heck of a long time to get out there. And so we're really talking about something that I don't think can be exempt. And so if you're not going to uphold the ordinances that this board has voted into place, then why are they even there? Thank you for your time.
Sure. Why don't you stick in case somebody has a question?
Hi, my name is Lori Rodens, and my mother is Norma Bestian. We live on Bighorn Road, and 2,000 acres across the road from this subdivision, or these lots, is ours. And we have a lot of concern about fire. It's been dry the last couple of years, and Kelly's right. The fire departments don't get there very, very quickly, and we've had to extinguish fires of our own. So the more people that you get out there, that's dry grain and it's dry hay, and we just are concerned about our land across the road. If the prevailing winds, and it's been windy and it's been really dry, and we are sticking up, for Kelly on her points too. So,
questions for these neighbors? Otherwise, I think we might have a couple more that want to talk.
Kelly, I had a question on you had said something on the lines of a lot that the Mayhaffes owned. Could you reiterate that, or?
Yeah, if we were researching the Dachtler property or the Dachtler subdivision, because we were unaware, we were under the assumption that we are still considered a low density, and so we were trying to find documents about the Dachtler subdivision, and it looks like I should have written down what tract it is, but it's the southernmost tracts.
Yeah, that's why I'm curious where the Mayhaffey property.
Yeah, yep.
So they're south of you.
So,
South.
yep. And so it was one large property, if I am correct, and they at one point must have subdivided that, and one of those sections is a 3-acre section. And so my concern is was this ordinance in place when they subdivided that would have pushed us into a medium density subdivision? If the ordinance was in place, was a variance requested, and what was the reasoning for that?
I have no memory of it, so I'm not sure that you're going to get any answers on that today because somebody recalls it specifically.
My concern would just be that I don't feel like this is an appropriate variance to uphold. I just don't. And so whether the Mayhaffes, when they subdivided it, should have put in a fire suppression system, or whether it got overlooked. They had a large acreage at that time, and so they might have fallen under something other where you can have up to 4 residences on, I think it's like 160 acres. That may have happened. But either way, I think that you have an ordinance in place, and I think that that should be upheld. So.
Thank you.
Questions? Back there, or you're just going to make them do your work today? Is that
the women will take care of it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Do the proponents have any comments on what was stated?
I just want to make one point. So, just so everybody understands, this type of fire suppression is not going to be something that can be used before a fire truck can get there. The type that Meade County requires is basically, it's just more water storage. So, I just want that to be clear for everybody's sake, whatever it matters or one way or the other. But I just want this type of fire suppression basically takes a truck to either draw it out of the tank or they've flush it in a swim pool and then they suck it out of the swim pool. So it's just more water storage. So
this is not related to the variance, but as to the dedication on the plat, is there? It looks like out there's more area dedicated along the right of way.
So the previous plat, and I'm guessing that it was more of an approach thing, that there's a 60-foot wide private access easement next to the dedicated public right of way.
Oh, that's what that extra is?
Yeah.
Okay, it's not extra dedicated.
Yeah. No, that got brought up last time, so I went back and
okay,
like how we come up with that, and then pulled the plat and the file, and so I think it's just an easement anywhere they can utilize, kind of like a. So.
All right, sorry about that.
No, that's fine.
It come up.
I had to question myself even when I seen that. So,
yeah, and the only comments I'd have is the ones I already made, and that is, I can appreciate when you're coming in and all of a sudden it's like, well, why do I have to do it? Well, it's because you're subdividing the property, and you got to draw your line at some point. Otherwise, we're going to end up with a 200 lot subdivision that's being held to standards that because you're doing it one lot at a time. You know, and we have this conversation all the time. Like, are we getting a multiple lot subdivision, one lot at a time, or is there a plan here? So at some point some point these harder rules got to kick in. Otherwise, people will just do 3 lots every year or 5 lots every year and say it doesn't apply. It doesn't apply.
I understand that, but if I put that in and I have to put that water suppression in, you can do 3 more lots, and it all fell on me. Correct?
Yeah.
So I mean, everybody else gets to run off that water suppression and not have to pay it back.
Well, there wasn't an original developer to develop that whole area, and so it just got developed.
There was somebody.
That,
I mean,
that applies to a lot of different things. If somebody builds a section line road and then all the neighbors sell off, I mean, it applies to a lot of different things.
There were 2 of them. Which one was the nice? Other questions?
So just so I'm clear, the subdivision has 16 currently? The Dackler subdivision,
Yes.
16. So it is medium density currently. Mm-hmm.
Other questions or a motion? Second.
I'll second.
Seconded to recommend to the commission to deny the request for the variance. Discussion on the motion. And none, those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, be unanimous to recommend denial. Okay, there's 2, then these are, the next 2 are, they want to defer at this point? Correct in reading those?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I received emails from, oops, sorry.
That's fine. So.
I received email from Kent Hague to defer the item.
Okay, so under R3, E, and F, the developer requested to defer those, but is there anybody here to speak to those today that came up to speak to them or provide comment? Would be willing to take your comments today, though we won't take any action. Request E and F. Okay.
I make a motion to defer E and F until the next meeting, till January.
Second.
What could we modify that motion? I think the motion would be more appropriate to defer it till
the developer brings it back.
Developer brings it back and staff agrees it's ready.
Okay. I wasn't sure how to word that correctly, so
Right.
I just took a
Because
stab at it.
the problem we've got is some of these, they're going to have to, when we just make a motion to defer, even if everybody agrees they're not ready, they have to be on the calendar because we have to move to defer.
Right. I will modify my motion to defer until the developer decides to bring it back and the staff agrees that it is ready to come back.
Perfect. And by ready to come back, I mean everything.
With the documents, yeah.
Documents all been submitted.
Yeah, document-wise.
Gotcha.
Second that. Agree to that.
Discussions on those motions. Seeing none, all those in favor of deferring E and F until the developers submitted all the paperwork and the staff and the developer wants to get back on the calendar and staff agrees all paperwork has been submitted. Signify by saying
Aye.
Aye.
2, so that those both pass unanimously. All right, we'll move into the Board of Adjustments. Can I get a motion to enter into the Board of Adjustment?
Motion to enter the Board of Adjustments.
Discussion, seeing none. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, and I'm going to repeat the comment I made. This does get confusing sometimes because you need variances for both plating and then for building permits. Of course, some of these overlap on the ordinances, so the standards are slightly different. Because this requires a variance of a Board of Adjustment, state law requires that it be 2/3 of the members of the board, not just who's here today. So this will take unanimous consent to get these to pass. So, if somebody wishes to defer, when you come up, just tell us you wish to defer. All right, we'll start with 4B, request for multiple residences.
So this was heard prior, but so this ordinance variance request is for 20311. Build a second dwelling on the property while living in the existing. With a new septic service, extend the water and the power to the new house.
And not required to be platted.
And not required it to be platted, correct. The prior variance was approved or was recommended to commissioners for December 10th. Prior to a building permit being issued, we request that this variance be granted. Matt, sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. So
at the time of certificate of occupancy, the existing home to be removed or be blocked with utilities removed and the skirting removed, in a 12-month build period.
So essentially, it's the same conditions as the previous one, but you have to also hear it as a Board of Adjustment because under our platting requirements, you're not allowed to have two houses on one lot.
Correct.
Okay, questions? Additional comments you guys came up with since the last time you were up here?
I don't believe so.
Questions? Okay.
I don't want to jump the gun this time.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting.
Yeah. I don't think anybody here, nobody spoke to it last time. I'm assuming nobody's here to speak to it.
I'll make a motion to approve this variance with the county recommendations of listed. I have to go through them. Did I go through them?
You just say staff recommendations?
Yep, staff recommendations.
Second.
Yep. Discussion. And all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Anybody opposed? That passes. So that variance is valid. The commission then will take up your build permit variance on the December
10th, right?
So they generally December 10th. Excuse me. Did I say 12th? Well, you know, December. Yeah, sometime in December. First meeting in December. I'll try it that way. All right. Well, thank you for coming in today.
Thank you.
Item 4C, variance request, road improvement, proposed lot 1 of Isler Ranch. Dedicated right of way.
During the preliminary plat in November, it was requested that a variance was needed for Ordinance 20, Article 612.4 to waive the requirements for the developer to improve the existing narrow road, which is Tilford Road. I have spoken with Highway Superintendent, and he is supportive of the variance not to improve Tilford Road. This variance is needed to move forward with the final plat. Right, Tilford Road is currently a county-maintained road. It's a collector. We are dedicating the 27-foot and the section line also.
Yeah.
This is Troy didn't feel it was necessary to have Tilford Road wave in and out from 28 to 24.
Shannon, any comments?
Nothing more, but just that section of Tilford Road and that certain stretch is a true 24-foot. So I measured that too. So it's a good road. I mean, the width-wise, it's not like it's a narrow 20-foot or anything. So
yeah, that's east of Rickard then.
West.
Yeah.
So it says, I thought I saw some comment on Bear Beat.
Yes, Bear Beat Water will serve this lot.
I didn't know they have lines down to Tilton.
There was a boring under the road when I was out there. Yeah. So
Well.
it must be on the north side of the road then.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay, questions, comments? Is there anybody else here to speak to this variance today? And I guess I don't see any really pressing. Actually, must have missed the platting of this one at the last meeting.
Yeah, it was as a preliminary plat last meeting.
Yep.
This is just for a single, this is not part of a development.
This is just a single 48. They're platting the lot because it's an east half, the northeast, so it didn't meet our platting, or to pull a building permit on a quarter described.
And if we approve this, we should do it for this lot only.
Could add that,
It
yeah.
need to be readdressed for future.
Is it one lot? It's one large lot with a whole bunch of drainage in it.
Yeah, that's a drainage easement.
Yeah.
That was the same question. It's a drainage
Yeah.
easement. It goes through it. Almost looks like lava.
Yeah, so we
on the-
created the build site up there in the corner. Yep.
So this is the build site.
This, that's just, I just showed that's just the, that's just what's next door described. So it wasn't a whole 80 acres, but they described it as an east and west half. So I'm just showing that's the west half of that quarter of the quarter. It is, as far as I know, it's for sale, but it hasn't, nobody's pulled a building permit on it yet. So. Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. But it's I think it's for sale. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yes, there was two 40-acre
Yeah.
lots that they were.
Yep. If it was sold as a north half and a south half, we wouldn't even have to plat it. They could just come in and get a building permit for an aliquot.
Yeah, well, the variance would only apply to lot one. One thing when it comes back through for final, I'd like to make sure that setback distance is appropriate from the section line and from the site plan.
Oh, okay. And those numbers are on there.
Okay.
They're really, really small, sorry.
Yeah, I just don't see that
They're,
linear line. 25.
so we
Okay,
got
I see
33, yep, 25 and then a
25.
33 foot,
Yep.
yep.
All right, I see them now. Section line or something. Okay. Ask anybody else here to speak to this? Comments, questions, motions?
I move we approve the variance.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. Any discussion or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the variance signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, that passes unanimously. Thanks for those clarifications, Shannon.
You bet.
Okay, let's go to item.
So this is a preliminary plat. Will follow this one. We're starting with the variances first. To the narrow driveway that runs down the section line to serve Lot 2. Currently, there is a driveway approach in the northeast corner of Lot 1 that they both use. The water line utility easement does run down the section line right away also. We're just requested not to improve the road to Lot 2 to a 28-foot road right away.
Probably couldn't get closer to the corner of our
Yeah,
boundaries here.
Clear up there.
way north.
Butte Meade line, yeah.
And I'd like to add, John here, he's the property owner. He can fill you in on a little bit of the history of the reasoning for the lot split. But I would add that the owner of Lot 1 expressed that they would consider using, what is that road? The North Road, putting an approach up in their northwest corner off the main road, if that's possible. So they don't have any intentions of using the section line. And at this time, ag ground is on Garcia's on the 160 acres on the east side of that. And I don't know what John's intentions are too. He can fill you in on that, but as of now, it's been used. It's just basically a narrow road that they've been using over the years. So.
I'd like to add, I didn't realize I had done this, but I tried to make the agenda a little shorter, so I added 3 variances into one item, just so you're aware. Usually don't do, but it felt like I was just repeating everything all over the time. So this is for ordinance 5141, which is the 28-foot wide gravel street or road. We're requesting not to dedicate that any further or improve it. Also 686, a newly developed lot in any density level subdivision common to a section line, that the section line that runs north and south not be dedicated out. It just still remains as a section line right away. And then 612.4, that's a new proposed subdivision that borders Whitewood Valley Road. That road does not be improved from a 24-foot to a 28-foot. Troy Eastman did go out there and look at that road. Where it's on the Butte Meade line, he would suggest that it just stay as 24-foot also, currently. So there would be 3 motions in this one, if you choose, just so when you're aware that I did do 3 articles under ordinance 20 under one item.
Sorry, I'm getting over something. A little bit of a history. Purchased this 25 acres. By the way, was broken out of that section. Purchased the 25 acres. Happening here is the result of the court has ordered that the 25 acres northern 10 acres. Existing house. So this section line split it pursuant to the court. This section line would really only service is a fence line. Years ago. build up a road when the only person who lot one would have. Do this, but
If county permission to gate that section line.
Like,
it was gated when I bought it. It was just a pass.
there's a letter here from somebody. Tanya, do you have any comments on what the person in this letter?
I think Mrs. Garcia is present
She is here.
to speak on it, yeah.
Questions for
I'm sorry, what was the nature of the court order?
It was a partition action. Court rather than.
So when Troy was out there, did he look at the roadway? It looks like the culvert is surfaced.
He did not mention anything on the culvert to me, no.
Yeah.
He just said that,
See the culvert in the picture.
Mm-hmm.
The culvert in the pictures.
Culvert. Northwest corner, there's an old dam. Only had water in it, I think.
Oh, yeah, up in the front. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
up in the north,
Yeah,
yeah.
where you see that.
Have that big drainage.
It was a dam that was built back.
So the fence to by the neighbor's property, is that on the section line?
From the neighbors on the east? No, those fences, neither one of those fences are either on the center nor the 33-foot. They're kind of, they go inside this section line right away. And like John said, they're only like 30-some feet apart, so they're not even really covering the whole 66 foot.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, the fences we're looking at this reason it's jogged over a little bit. And then the distance between those two
Yeah. And I have had some discussion with Mr. Garcia, so, and that was mainly their concern, was where the fences were in relation to the section line. So that's probably going to be something, when we go out and set corners and mark points on line, we're going to show everybody where the center is, so then that way, whatever, two neighbors can have a discussion and, you know, on the fences if it is a concern, so.
Any other questions for?
At the end of the road on the south, It looks like it goes into the property on the east. That just... That doesn't show it on the plat. I'm just looking at the GIS. Like it's going anywhere, but it does look like it's had some traffic.
Talking right here, Roger.
Yep, on the bottom of the property, probably further south.
Oh yeah, it goes a little further. That's John's, that's your driveway, right? It goes into your home?
Right.
Or
That's,
just past?
That's the
There's
driveway, and then
this-
past that,
Fence line here.
it's kind of an old gravel pit. I don't think it goes into the other quarter. It goes probably right on the line at that. Fence is right there where you. I don't think. At least it's inside where the existing fence.
Thank you.
Else before I call for comments from the audience? All right. Is there anybody else here to speak to this? Why don't you come on up, ma'am? You identify yourself for everybody and then tell us.
Property here. Section line. Right now we utilize. What we really would like. So, section line road right now, I understand it's section line.
Why is that?
Goes on to
Okay. So do they have it gated so you can't get through, or why can't you get through there?
well, the gate has been removed in the last. Yeah, but it's.
Yeah, it's a section line, so they don't have the right to keep you from driving down it, even if it goes across right by their house. If they're preventing you from driving, that's a criminal violation. You should let them call the sheriff. else?
The road does not need.
You would just like it fenced, so you.
When you come off.
So you submitted these pictures. One's a picture that shows a gate where there's some goats on the other side. Where's that at? That gate's, that's the gate that's gone, you're saying? Okay, questions?
So the picture that's up right now, is that near the... Okay, so the driveway, the current driveway is to the right of that picture? And so that's the area that you'd like to see clearly marked with property lines. I see.
Okay, and then is that drainage, what's that drainage? How long have you been out there? Okay, so you just... That drainage easement being added pursuant to this plat, or did it already exist?
One on the south, it already existed.
Okay.
Well, really, you guys plan on using this section line to get to this property? The people, not you, the people,
Yes.
they're gonna, but
Currently
it's not
there's a
developed at all, so they're gonna.
There's a house back there with water serving it. Repeat water serves the home that's already in the back on lot 2.
They're using
We're
the
using
section line as a
section
driveway.
line currently. Yeah.
So they're not gonna improve it at all, like make it a road, because right now it's not even a road. So if it get heavy rains, it's just gonna be a rutted up, it's gonna be a rutted up mess.
You can get a moment in a second, sir. Any other questions for Ms. Garcia? Thanks for your submittals. It's nice to have those pictures and thoughts on this. If you want to come up again.
I think I might be able to help with some of those questions. It's nice to see those submittals moved out there. Always cattle in there. How about that? Okay. So I had sheep, and there was no way that that was going to hold sheep. It really wouldn't even hold calves. They were always in there. And so I was working with the previous owners before Garcia's. She had rented it to some of my neighbors, and they were running cattle on there. And I kept getting told they'd improve the fence, they'd improve the fence. Well, it just never happened. And so what I did is, from the southern portion, I went north on that border fence, put in woven wire, brand new woven wire, 2-strand border fence. It's 320 rods from north to south. I actually went about 180 rods just because I wanted to be to the top of the hill. So I did a little more than I needed to as far as my responsibility for the border fence. Then I kept, as I mentioned, kept being told that they would improve their fence so that, I could keep my animals and theirs as well. It never happened. And so that's why I built the other fence in 2 rods. That was never there before. And so I put a gate at the top of the hill because north of that, I had to keep my animals out, or out of the neighbors, off the road, what have you. And so I wasn't ever put in there with an intent to block anyone's access. There was never any other gates into that east quarter other than almost right up there by the intersection of Whitewood Valley Road and Almond Road. There's no, see, there you saw some gates, and that's one of the gates that I had at the top of the hill right there. And it looks like that was taken right after the Garcias replaced that fence and put in new 4-strand wire. But south of that is all woven wire. And so there was, if you follow that all the way down, there's no other gate going into the southern property or into the Garcias from there. That's the only gate into the Garcias.
I don't think there's a rule that you can't put a gate across the section line. I know lots of people that live out in the country. There's lots of gates that cross section lines. They just need to be accessible to anybody that wants to go down the section line.
Right.
So I don't think the gate is an issue.
It's always been accessible, and the neighbor to the south had asked me if they could run their cattle through there versus herding them down the road, and I said, fine, you put in the gate into your property. I have no issues with that. My only issue was trying to keep my own animals in. And I didn't put a new gate in anywhere else other than, I never took any gates out. Let's put it that way. So
just panel gates give the feeling of less access than if you drive down a section line and you come across a wire gate. People seem to just feel free to go in and out those gates.
Yeah, there was a wire gate right there on the road.
And I'm not saying you need to do that. I just know that that's how people kind of see those.
Sure, I replaced the south end as well, and there is a wire gate there that can be closed across that driveway, and primarily it just aids my neighbors who drive cattle down the road. They can shut that and not worry about them coming into mine, and then they always open it up again, and that's just how we live out there. So it's more of a, we're more Butte County really than Meade County there. But as far as the driveway, as I mentioned, there is gravel up there, and periodically I just haul gravel down to try to maintain it, to fill in the ruts. There are some ruts right now that a guy came in and tore it up, and I'll be filling those back in. But again, I'm the only one that benefits from that road. And you can see it's lighter, and that's because it's gravel. It's not gumbo or anything like that.
As a clarification, to make sure nobody misses it, South Dakota state law does say that you cannot gate an improved section line. This would be approved unless you have permission. So, I mean, you're true on...
unimproved, yes.
Yeah, unimproved, but it doesn't take... This would be deemed improved. Not that it doesn't happen everywhere. So, and it usually doesn't become a problem unless somebody's barring access. But, okay, any other questions? So, I'll just say that, given an opportunity for deferrals on this, if somebody so desires, I'll just say out, I'm not going to vote for you. I'm not going to vote to waive the requirement for you to improve that road. So that's on one vote, but because of the nature of the board right now, my one vote will push that off. So I'm laying that out in case you want to defer it for a full board decision. But I'm not telling you a full board to vote that you'll get enough votes for even a full board, but because the state statute requires the 2/3 of the members of the board, not of the people present.
Well, we're also here to review a preliminary plat as well, and so we'll have to come back with the actual plat after that. So I would have no issue with deferring this because there may be some issues with the plat as well.
Your request is to defer this to the next meeting. I'm not going to speak to the plat right now until I get to it, because I would expect that my vote on the plat would be contingent on you getting variances or constructing the road.
Right, I think they go hand in hand anyway, so I guess my request would be then to defer it until a later date, and we can still discuss the plat in a greater latitude here in a few moments.
So I'm just bringing that up to prevent full disclosure. I don't anticipate change. I probably be convinced on the width issue, but probably not the issue on development, especially when I start seeing in that it's open, that the culvert's exposed, caused me concern. So, but I'd take a motion now to defer it from the present when.
I'll make a motion to defer this variance until January, or until the client applicant would like to bring it back.
Second.
Before we take the vote, I would ask Ms. Garcia if there's any concern that you would have on deferring. Thank you.
Discussions on that motion. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Deferred then. Variance request E, dedication of section 1 branch supply. Is there anybody here to speak to this plat? Anybody here to speak to this plat? Shannon's right behind you. Mac Ranch.
I was writing notes.
Oh, wow. Okay, so what's going on here, Shannon?
Okay, so this variance, you're going to see the plat next. Basically what we're doing is taking Kamak Ranch supply, all the buildings, all the storage yards, everything that's really used as a commercial use, platting that all into one lot. Previously we just had we had 3 lots which covered the buildings that were platted as part of Speed Edition. And so now it's basically you got a family member looking to purchase the family business. So they're just trying to clean up and actually protect the business with what's being used as a business and separate from the ranch property. So, so on the west side of the property, you can see off the perpendicular to the highway. There's the highway right away right there. There's a section line. So they're just asking. Their variance is to not actually dedicate that portion as dedicated public right-of-way, keep it as an open section line, and so that's really what this variance covers, is that particular part of the section line.
So that's just
Correct, yep. It's all part.
Houses or?
No, it's just, basically it's a huge shelter belt area that they're, put the cattle in weather, so.
So if we approve this variance and somebody wants to open that section line, then that, you never get that dedication back, right, for that first section? Is that correct?
Well, if they want to open that section line, they have every right to open that section line, and from there, how many miles north, which would never be dedicated. You know what I mean?
For development purposes,
Mm-hmm.
it could be right, but then we wouldn't get the dedicated first section portion. Is that correct?
Depends. I mean, they might do it as part of it. Some people do it if there's like a subdivision going behind it, just because they don't want to have any questions of ownership with the land. But there's a lot of county roads out in that country, and none of them really have dedication. You know, they just go on the section line right away. And this isn't really changing the use. That's when usually I'm concerned about it. At least that's my thoughts on it. More questions for Shannon?
Well, there's an approach right there on that corner. Looks like that approach is designed to go into
there is an existing approach and gate, and that's why you see that access easement going up through on that side. We actually have about 3 access easements that go through the commercial space use to the ranch land. So that's where you see the approach basically on the section line that the state has, just because there's a road right across the street from it. But then you'll see there's a trail that goes and veers off to the right back there. So we did cover that with a private access easement for the benefit of the Kamak Ranch family. So
you intend that easement to go all the way to 34 then?
Yes, it goes all the way. Basically, I covered the area that wasn't covered in the section line right away. You know, just outside. It didn't cover. It just basically goes straight south on the section line.
You don't need an easement to drive down.
So it just cuts across that little corner.
Correct. Yep.
Okay, additional questions? Is there anybody else here to speak to this variance? None. Okay, we should make a motion.
Move we approve the variance request.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. As form of discussion, I don't really have a problem with this variance myself because it's not a change of use. They're consolidating lots. If somebody had built a home back up in there, that might be a story. Land behind it owned by Kamaks too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Any other discussion on motion?
But to your point, that doesn't preclude, though, building a home later on.
No, they could come in, but it's, you know, if somebody's coming in for a subdivision, I'd worry a lot more about it. But I'm not. I just don't see somebody doing a house subdivision out there. So, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 I'll vote for it. Anybody opposed? That passes unanimously. Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you.
We'll go to F, variance request, dead end road length. Excuse me?
Oh, he was just wondering where we were at on the agenda.
Okay. Dead-end road length and number of residences, lot 1 of Moonlight Mountain.
I'll let Lisa McFarland on this one.
Hi, guys. Yeah, we basically are here today. I've got Adam McLean, and I have Mr. Bill Hoven, the uncle. And the two of these live next to each other. Adam owns 27 plus acres there. We've got the plat. And we're asking to cut that plat in half and create another building site there. The taxes are getting quite high out in that area, and it's kind of for a one-income person getting to be a lot. So he was asking if we could cut that lot in half.
Mr. Hoven, you're here for...
I'm the road district president.
Okay. So you're
The
here.
Edgewood Place Road District is there, and Mr. Hogan is president of that road district.
Adam's mother passed away. Sell off 15 acres. That'll lower his taxes and put a little money towards paying off the house, and better for all of us. And another person living there is another person to donate to our road district, which is pretty small.
Other comments on it?
Currently, from the intersection of Elk Creek Road to where their property is, it's roughly 4,612 feet to that, which exceeds our primary road distance of 1320 as a dead-end road. It is a road district also, so I wasn't sure. So with more development, I know no way, there's not a second way out.
Yeah, how many houses back up in there now?
In the whole Edgewood development, don't quote me, I think from Creek Road to the dead end, approximately 16.
How many beyond the dead end, or beyond this property to the dead end?
I think here, 1, 2, 6, no, 7.
I note there are 21 residences on that road. 21 residences on Edgewood Place Road. I'd asked Tanya, I think you raised a question here also if a variance required due to the existing narrow road within a road district. Could you explain that?
So it does not meet our current ordinance of 28 foot wide. It's a narrow paved road to their property, past their property, then it becomes gravel. So he'd also have to have a variance for that, also for platting the dead end road length of the narrow road. The reason why the fire suppression is not on here because it's only 2 lots within a subdivision.
There is a lot of narrow places on that whole road, but where these guys would put the approach is probably the widest portion of the whole road. It's plenty wide.
Were you anyone here during the fire of, I want to say it was 06? Remember that? East Ridge fire, yeah. And were the homes affected at all?
Yeah, there's a couple burned down back in there.
Right.
Like a mobile home, I know. A couple outbuildings.
Yeah. Actually, when I got a cistern that we shared. back when we had the big fire, and I told them, open it up and suck it out if you want. Several of them filled there.
We were going to ask Shannon to do the survey for us. Baseline survey.
Anybody else here to speak to this plat? Is there any other? No, we've looked at this a couple times as the secondary access. We actually looked at developer looking at coming over the development, going to dedicate additional right of way to try to get back.
Well, they could turn in right on his road, but then that wouldn't look right.
Well,
there's a good significant distance my approach and his. I'm guessing it's close to it.
Yeah, I'm talking more of another way to get a road back in.
Through the whole development? About $5 million. It was cut through a rock. I've been working on it for 23 years.
I think there would be a way to connect those.
Down at the very bottom to get out, you mean?
Well, you know where
There
Jeremy...
is a gate there. You can, in case of a fire, you can get out the bottom.
Okay.
But it's private land.
Yeah.
But I think there is an easement. Isn't there an easement there?
I think it falls pretty close.
Yeah. Anyway, an emergency.
I have no idea where you're talking about.
Now, where is that gate, please?
So what, going out on Crooked Canyon?
On Edgewood Place.
This right here?
Right down for the road splits. There's a road that splits. That road, opposite side. Fences are meeting right with.
In addition, we have been working hard to better that. Getting better at it.
Some of that is actual pavement. Recycled grinds. So it's still really a gravel road. Right to his driveway.
And last couple of years, we've been putting and intended.
But as far as the width,
Maybe you answered this already, but from the property where you're going to split, how many homes between there and the Elk Creek Road? Do we know?
One,
It's under contract right now.
under contract.
Thanks. I have to admit I am concerned, and you probably lived through that too. I am concerned about the lack of a second egress, and I am concerned about the road width, and so I know travel conditions, especially during a fire, is not an easy thing. So I certainly turn to my colleagues, but I express my concern.
Yes.
Was it this one?
Yes,
Yeah.
she's imagining
It's real.
Yes, she's,
Yeah.
yes, it's real. They're just
Yeah.
a lot line adjustment. Not adding, but not
That was
adding
just-
any more
right.
lots.
Right.
Most of us have been there a lot of years, and no trouble. I know of one accident.
Yeah, that was my question. I was going to ask because there's people that live on past Bill. How did they get built? I was going to say, how did they get to build houses back there?
Well, the ordinances change over the years to, especially when you maybe find that, gosh, we're having issues with this, so we need to change the numbers a little bit. I don't know when those were done, but could have been a previous ordinance where the numbers were different.
I don't remember a plat being back there. Whether they could get buildings.
It will definitely exceed the rules that you have for the 9 acres. It'll be more like 12. And the access to the water goes right across that property. It goes right between Adam.
Personal feeling. Us, there's
Into the road district. Yeah.
I welcome 10 more.
Okay, yeah, there might have been that 40 that got done. Okay, comments? He would for variance, you'd need all 5. You were here when I gave the speech to the gentleman for you because you do have to get a unanimous. So if you've got a desire to defer it, that's freely give that to for the full board. That's your right.
Well,
if one of the primary concerns is like traffic up on the hill when there's a fire, I can that East Ridge fire back in the day, there was no issues for anybody getting off of the hill and evacuating. There just not enough traffic up there to create any sort of a clog or slow down anybody's evacuation. Just based on my personal experience over the years, thought I would add that. Understandable. The East Ridge fire started very, very close to our hill, actually. We didn't have very much time, very much notice to evacuate, but still, it was no trouble.
Are you interested in hearing our vote, or would you like to defer until you have a full vote, a full board?
Well, you've heard my concern, and I think it doesn't matter where the property is. When we're looking at 4,600 feet compared to the ordinance of 1320, and for the purpose, that's a big stretch, and it would be hard for me in good conscience to support that.
In this particular property, there's some terrain things that make it even a little more of an issue. If you're out, in the flat where you could just drive anywhere to get out. But here, that's a secondary thing in our minds, that the terrain plays a part also here.
And like what has been said, there are two ways to get off of that hill. It's not just one particular way. If the fire's coming from Elk Creek Road area and you can't drive through there to get out, there's a way to get out the other way also. So.
Listen to all of this, and he built the road up right to the back of your property, although there isn't an easement.
If you defer this and come back with that information,
But in an emergency, you could just drive that and take his road.
If you were to defer this and come back with letters that it's okay to use those from those landowners and that they don't care if everybody exits their property, I don't know that will change or may change something, but at least we would know that those other options do exist. Maybe some drawings of where everything's at more clear, that sort of stuff. I'm just trying to help you out because I'm not exactly sure.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair. I think in this circumstance, I would like to request to defer till next month, or next month would be fine.
Yeah, I see. I'm kind of just looking at this on GIS, and I see where those roads come over from Elk Creek Spur and stuff. Those little side roads come over. Yeah, it'd be nice to figure out a way to get a fire trail cut across even.
Yeah, if there's some established emergency routes on paper.
Yeah, because it doesn't look like there's just a couple pieces of property you could get across them. Maybe.
Trouble is, it's mostly rock.
Well,
we're on a mountain of rock.
Yeah, I don't. I know I know the area pretty well, so I know it's tough. A lot of rock everywhere. Not like you're cutting up cornfields out here. Okay, so is there a motion to defer?
Move to defer.
Do you want to set a time, or do you want to kind of get some more answers as whether, or how you think there's alternative ways out?
I think within the next 30 days, I should be able to, get every bit of additional information you guys would hope to see for the next meeting.
I move to defer to the January meeting of the Planning Commission.
I'll second that.
Have an issue?
Well, just so everyone's aware, 30 days does not mean 30 days in my world. It means 2 weeks. So everything is due December 16th back to my office for the next meeting agenda. That's my deadline to get everything up on board docs and up and going.
Why don't
Maybe
we
amend.
amend that
They
to
have
just
the-
tell
Yep.
he gets everything submitted
Yes.
and wants to come back. That way, and it's the holidays too, so
Yep.
getting running people down.
I'd like to just amend that or perfect the motion to, upon receipt of the submittals.
I'm good with that.
Okay, and then discussion on the new motion on deferral. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I
Yeah, I mean, it would be, I just tell you, we've worried about this area a lot, because you can see that there's it's an attractive area, the access isn't great, and one of the things I think everybody's worried about is to let you do it, how many other people are going to just start getting in line behind you, and then we're going to have 60 homes back there somewhere. And so if there's any thoughts of reserving or putting in place something that for the future to provide dual access, even in an emergency, that might help a lot of people up there. That's down to family and friends. So it's tough, but it's a tough area.
I do have a question. Is there a way for their current road district right now to, like with petitions with neighbors, kind of create like a second road district to that, going down another side, like down to Sunshine Valley or
So I don't know
over on
that-
the other side?
Yeah, Sunshine Valley is pretty. You got some elevation.
Go the other way.
I don't know the extent of their road districts. Road districts have statutory established powers, and they'd have to look to see the extent of their road districts. Within their districts, I believe they might even have the power to have condemnation or cut deals to buy a secondary access. But that would, like I said, I don't know.
This development up there, why am I being?
Because it's exclusive, I guess.
Well,
I don't think anybody said it was bad.
I just kept building and thinking all the kids would come. That's long.
Yeah, so sounds like
I
you
do
have.
have a
It sounds
question
sounds
about
like you have a
that.
nicer house than I do.
Oh. With all do you have any idea how much revenue is produced, like last year, just from new homes?
You mean, well,
In my,
there.
it doesn't matter. My question is, doesn't that offset your?
Not even close. I mean, we're capped. Our growth.
Oh, boy, homeowners are capped too now.
Well, yeah, well, I do appreciate when a homeowner complains about me about his taxes, and the next thing he complains about is the fact that his road isn't kept up well enough. So those things are, contradictory. I mean, you got to look at Meade County as a gigantic county, very limited on what we can do. The counties can only raise very limited ability to raise money in property tax, and frankly, the county only sees a very small, doesn't even see half of your taxes. Most of your taxes go to the school district. And we're trying, there's a lot of development out there we're trying to deal with, and roads have gotten really expensive, as I'm sure you know.
Everything's expensive.
Yeah.
But what's happened to a lot of people is They're forced to sell their home. Me, I'm retired. Built my own home. Hope to die in it. Might have to die in it before I should. Because I'm going to get taxed off.
Yeah.
Because you guys ain't done raising it.
Well, if I had an answer for you, I'd give you one. We struggle with it every day. Okay, did we get a vote on that then? Okay. Okay, we'll move on to the agenda then. Go to item G, H, and I. Look like they're all requests for deferrals.
Yes, Talbot.
Okay, and it's okay to take them as one then? They're all the same. They're all the same development, right?
Kent Hague and Science Holdings, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I make a motion to defer G, H, and I until the applicant chooses to come back with all their paperwork.
Second.
All right, discussions on the motion. Before I take that, is anybody here to talk to GH or I at all? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes unanimously. Can I get a motion to exit the Board of Adjustment?
So moved.
All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
We're out of Board Adjustment to old business. I am going to about a 10-minute break. We've been going straight for 2 hours. Just everybody stretch their legs. Apologize that I appreciate everybody's patience out there, but we'll be just a couple minutes. We'll get started back up. So, hey.
Starting to feel guilty.
Did the
Another 200 house with a big shop. Don't feel good either. Well, that was.
Yeah.
Telling him I've been feeling kind of.
I don't know. I haven't heard from him. Gotta figure out. We have 3 viewers. That was really more.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I didn't know we had. I didn't know we were. was telling.
You didn't bring any or what? I give you a month off and this is what happens.
All right. I'm going to call the meeting back to order, and we'll go to 5A, final plat of lots 1R, 2R, 3R, 4R, Block 2, Bridle Ridge. This is where they reform these lot lines because they actually built the road in the wrong location, correct? We'll move the right of way. Oh, move these, okay. All right.
So from last time, there's no additional changes from last time, except for they did what we asked them to do last time? Right, as new business?
Doesn't look like there was anything.
Oh, so they...
We didn't ask them.
Okay.
So this is, Shannon had misstaked the road, is that what's going on here?
No, the road's built right to the original plat, and then when we adjusted the lot lines to meet the 9-acre requirements, because they're just 8.9 something, my drafter took that, and he just made all 4 lots equal, rather than just take a small portion, and just to get them where they're all over 9. So what we ended up was that cul-de-sac you see further to the south, which didn't match where the existing cul-de-sac is, so.
Okay. All right, questions for Shannon? Anybody else here to speak to this final plat?
I move we approve this final plat.
Second. Motion is seconded to approve the revised lots, final plat. Discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Go to 5B, final plat of lots DS4.
Requested that we have a road access.
Put your mic on, Tanya.
Sorry. They have a bid document from a road builder that also is in. He's met all the other requirements set forth within the plat. Am I missing, Shannon?
I don't think anything.
The only thing was the north-south line, or the east-west line between 4B and 4C was just adjusted to meet the fence line that's out in the field.
Yeah, we did adjust that slightly. It was about an acre's worth, just so it did meet the fence line exact. So that way that fence line doesn't ever need changed or anything, so.
Any other comments? Sir, identify yourself, please.
Luke Neville, we're the property owners. Essentially what we got going on here is we've got a full-time mechanic and a young family that's offered to help us with our business. And we wanted to plot this in this direction so that we can sell it contract for deed, and they're signing a contract to work with us for the over the next few years. And that 10 or 11.9 acres is going to be deeded to them, and then the 9 point, that smaller square lot, and that's going to be a lot for also owned by us for a future building for our business, which is just a shop building.
Questions for the landowner or for Shannon? Is there anybody else here to speak to this plat today? Motion.
There are several recommendations there, Tanya. Conditions under item 4.
Those are all on the plat noted now. The preliminary approved of the following for all the private and all that. That's now all on the final plat. Oops, sorry, wrong one.
Up to number 4. There you go.
That 10-minute recess.
Yeah. So when you do, you can plat and approve and as you bond the road, you cannot pull building permits, and Luke is aware of that. So the county has received a letter of credit for that from the bank to improve the road, along with the price estimate from the contractor. When they do improve the road, a new approach permit will have to be granted because the current approach is only 12 foot wide. So I will really look at that and make it full 27 with the radiuses and everything to meet the 20-foot wide road. And the section line right away, until it is opened under codified law or petitioned, they won't access off of that. It will remain the access to the back lots. There's a wetland through it.
I move approval contingent upon the recommendations as staff has given in item 4.
Second, since I'm here in the spotlight.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussions on the motion. Seeing none. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? So that passes unanimously. Go to 5C, final plat of track B-5A revised.
Unless you want to stay.
This looks like this is tied to the variances we just gave.
Yes. The only thing I have not received is the well share agreement, which was in the November 4th meeting as part of the condition for the final plat. So before final recording of the plat, that shared well agreement be up to date and reviewed by staff. It's just adding the new lot to the agreement is all it is. And then the ordinance 10 that was just granted will need to go in front of the Board of Commissioners on December 10th.
Is there a need to get it passed, or can we continue it?
I don't. I know the Collinses have been on vacation a lot lately, so I don't know the reasoning. Because like Tanya said, it's just simple add the new lot to the plan. I mean, or to the well share agreement. Yep. For a future owner. Yep.
Andy Thompson prepared the last one, so it's just a matter of updating the one that was just done 6 months ago. That was.
Yeah, I since we're short a couple things, my preference would be to defer because in case we have an issue and then I'll kind of approve final plat out there. So.
I'll second that.
I think, and we have the. Moved and seconded, discussion on the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Plat of lot 1.
Yep. Eisler. Yep.
This was tied to that variance, Article 20, or Ordinance 20, Article 612.4, to not improve the narrow road of Tilford. So that was just waiting on a variance approval.
Is this one too that's going to the county?
No.
Okay.
I'll second.
Discussion.
Aye.
Aye.
This one.
Yeah, and I think this one we can just remove or.
I didn't know. Do we need to make a motion to remove this from?
Well,
I wasn't
do you
sure.
want it to defer while they look at options?
Yeah, we could do defer. Yeah. Yep.
So let's.
And at least I give them.
Ivy.
Or withdraws it. I mean, because if we vote it down, you can't bring it back for a year.
For a year. Yeah, true. No.
So if you want to withdraw it, and while you're thinking about it, then that doesn't. Withdraw it, you're fine, aren't you?
Well, actually, it has to go through the county commissioners for denial of ordinance 33. So it would have to come back through as a final plat anyways, so variance is approved or not.
So we're deferring then. Motion.
No.
Developer will play
Second.
All those in favor signify.
Aye.
Aye.
That request to defer items F through H.
No, 6.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I
I'm
get
sorry.
in the wrong section?
No, you're in the
Right.
You're in the right one.
By their old business, there's still preliminary plats.
Yes.
That just haven't been
So 6E through G are Kent Hague and Silence Holdings. And
F
then
through G.
6,
Or F through H. Excuse me.
H is Infinity Diesel, which is a different applicant.
Oh. Oh.
Okay, so let's make them separate. So it's F and G are one applicant.
Yes.
Oh, it's a different one.
So Hague is 6F, B, and 6H is Infinity Diesel, or Infinity Landing.
I make a motion to defer F and G until the applicant brings it back with all documentation needed.
Second.
Motion is for F and G. Discussion. Anybody here to speak to these? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Passes. 5H. Request to defer.
Five H.
5H.
Second that one as well.
Discussion. Aye.
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 Move on to item 6A, new business proposed preliminary plat lot. Aye, this is combining of 3 lots into one.
Yes.
About this, Shannon. Part of the
Yeah, we covered most of it, I guess, so I just wanted to point out there's just a couple more access easements running through the property. They basically serve the same purpose as all of them, because we have one here, one in the middle, and then one back through here. So then they're all been used over the years, so many years, but again, separating the commercial from the ranch there, but we just wanted to protect those easements for the future. So, but other than that, it's just a real straightforward plat, just basically taking all the commercially used property that the Kamek Ranch Supply uses for daily business and just putting it all in one plat. So, which it basically contains just 23 acres plus. So.
Questions for Shannon? And none. Is there anybody here to speak to this plat?
Move approval of this final plat.
Preliminary,
Or preliminary. Try to jump ahead.
I'll second
Uh,
that.
excuse me, it looks like I missed some conditions. So if I could perfect the motion to include condition on the document identifying existing commercial use of land and buildings to be retained as is, and then agricultural status acknowledged and form be signed by landowner.
Yep, I'm okay with that.
All right, discussions on the motion. Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? That passes unanimously. And we're back to the preliminary plat of the Sweetlow Ranch Estates that was discussed as part of the variance.
No, really I don't, but just after talking on the break, we would like to make one small adjustment to lot 1 and 2 to where lot 1's the dedicated public right-of-way is going to come out of the 10 acres rather than, and going to be 9.7 acres versus 10 acres. So that's really the only adjustment we're going to make on our side. Everything else we're just, with the plat itself, we got Bear Butte Valley water again, but we have lots over 9 acres, but So I think the plat itself's pretty straightforward, so.
Butte, also to add to that, Butte Electric, as you can see, runs up the western line there between my land and Brazel's. So that's already in place as well. And as far as access, Lot 1 would have access either through the section line there or directly if there was an approach made onto Whitewood Valley Road or 193rd.
We see.
Yes, yep. The Lot 2 is. Lot 2.
I understand that it's big enough to think its
I think the intent is to do another hookup to Bear Butte Valley for Lot 1s, not to sink a well.
Yes. Correct, and that's why I did it previously, but after talking with, that was our discussion we had, it was more of a 60-40 split too, so that's just something I wanted you to be aware of, that we're discussing that possibly might, the only thing it would change on the plat itself, so.
The difference is that the right-of-way would come out of that 10 acres, since that parcel benefits from Whitewood Valley Road.
dedicated right away. The point.
Mm-hmm. Correct. Yep.
So you're going to move that lot line between the two of them.
Correct. Yep.
Question. Lot 1 going to access
that we don't know, but just after speaking to the owner of that lot, they basically they basically stated to me that their intent was to come off of the front road over there in the southwest or northwest corner of the lot. So
right through the drain.
Yep. So.
You're probably going to have to engineer that.
Correct. Yeah. No. But I didn't even get that far in the conversation. It was just more, they seemed that I just wanted them to be aware of the variances that we're going to ask for, and they just expressed that concern. So, but.
Yeah, I mean, my preference would for them to come off the side section.
Road.
Right now, excuse me, right now that would be the access to it. In the one picture that was there, there's a green gate, and that green gate would provide access from the side into that parcel. When you're looking from Whitewood Valley Road.
That what?
They're in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm. Is your mic on? Is your mic on?
So I'm clicking back and forth on this, Shannon, but here you have your lines like your L2 and your L4, but I don't see, okay, now I found them. I couldn't see the way you had the distances over on that. Yeah, I mean, I especially think you're going to want to come off that when you're 412 feet, all the frontage you have on that lot.
Mm-hmm.
Got 500 feet of separation anyway, they're going to need another variance.
The local, so 150.
A local, Whitewood Valley Road is a local.
can make the change.
It's interesting. It's a Meade County road that's maintained by Butte County. I'm the only person in Meade County side on that road, so Butte County does essentially all of the maintenance, road grading, snow plowing. Meade County comes through a couple times a year to check it out, I guess.
Take over a couple more, that'd be great. Well,
actually, it's me probably more often than Butte County that plows that snow, but we're in the middle of nowhere.
Questions?
Given that we deferred the variance request, is there wisdom in deferring?
Plat can't go through, the preliminary can't be approved unless the
Well,
variances are approved, correct?
Well,
That's how I understood it.
If the variances are not approved, you can approve the preliminary, requiring him to build the road to ordinance spec. Approve it. 20 foot wide. Or section line to and a cul-de-sac at the cul-de-sac at the end.
So it could be a motion that the prelim plat is approved with all county ordinances in place. Yeah.
Dedicate. So, I mean, that would, only approve it within.
Is that what you're seeking then?
Well, actually, no. I'm trying to avoid that, as the only one that would benefit from building a road for county spec. Basically, you'd be requiring me to build a county road spec driveway. That's what we'd be doing, a quarter mile long, which I think is cost prohibitive, and as I would be the only one to benefit from that.
At this time.
Well, if somebody wants to develop it down the road, that might possibly be, but they would have to come back and replat it and split it even more. This is just, it wasn't even my intention to split this property. I'm not doing it for the benefit of making a buck. It's because the court's requiring me to. I'd just as soon it be sold as one piece, but here we are. Also, the issue with making 2 miles of a road, right now, it's a T intersection coming from the north, from Butte County into Meade County. And my concern is if the road is built up very well and it appears to be a regular road, now we're just building traffic that's going back there. And I don't know if you looked at the elevations, but it's about 100 feet. There's a hill right in the middle. And once you're back over that hill, nobody can see what anyone's doing, and that would potentially negatively affect me and all my neighbors if there's people coming back in there. Now, I understand I can't prohibit somebody from doing it, but I don't want to create an attraction either. And again, it's just, the road would just be for me. I don't want to create any type of upkeep situation expense for the neighbors, either the owner of Lot 1, future owners, or the Garcias.
Yeah, well, my preference would be that we'd also require Lot 1 to access off of what you're calling the driveway.
I wouldn't have any issue with that.
Before we make any motions, Ms. Garcia, did you want to come back up and say anything else on the plat? Okay, so you don't have any comments directly on the plat, just the variances. So I guess the question, I believe I'm going to follow up with Roger's question, sir, and that is, on a motion today, do you want motion's going to be apply with county ordinances?
If we approve the prelim, just assuming that all ordinances apply, can Can he not bring back a variance before a final?
I think we've let people bring variances.
Okay.
We have procedurally, and you have a variance pending. Just, yeah, so I think your motion would, clear that he built the road specification, section line, completed or bonded prior to final, and then I would suggest adding a requirement to lot 1 because of the way that drainage is. Access, restrict the access. My thoughts.
Seems to me
I'll go ahead and move approval contingent upon obtaining a variance to improve the driveway. That's one. Secondly, upon a variance waiving the requirement of improving the road, a variance to dedication of the section line right away, and showing the approach coming off the section line.
What happens if he doesn't get the variance?
Doesn't get the preliminary. Be the contingencies. That's what you want to do.
The motion dies for lack of a second.
I move to defer.
Second to that motion. Discussion on the motion. All those in favor of deferring the motion.
The applicant submits all relevant material. Yep.
By saying aye.
Aye.
I'm going to vote no. Okay, but the motion passed. So there you are. You're going to have to figure out that variance question.
Could I ask one question just for preparation of the next hearing? In terms of the county spec and making sure I understand that the concern is that whoever would own Lot 1 would have proper access, would the county spec be required for that entire quarter mile to all the way to Lot 2, or could it be shortened to ensure proper or county spec access to Lot 1 through that section line?
But it needs to go to Lot 2 also. And the other thing is you might consider, something the board might consider is rather than doing a full, since it is a low-use road, you can request to build a narrower road. That might be an option.
Request was part of that anyway.
Yeah, to do your narrower road.
Thank you.
Go to preliminary plat of Lot 1 and 2 of Block 5, Horizon Road.
I'm Bill Freytag. I'm the developer of the Horizon Estates subdivision. These are 2 5-acre lots that border Elk Creek, and they have all the water to them and the electricity to them. And they meet the road requirements around Elk Creek, and I've provided a right-of-way, a 66-foot right-of-way across them, so in the future I can go in there and build and take my road to the north.
So you're dedicating that road, then going to the north. And they're 5-acre lots, but they're less than that because of the dedication.
Yeah, they're slightly less because the amount of road land that was dedicated to the county when a few years ago when you were widening, I don't know what you were doing on Elk Creek, but you took some extra land up there. So they're just slightly less than 5 acres. That takes some of it. That road, the land was dedicated 5-6 years ago, and then the 66 foot of right-of-way that I'm taking there. But these are big lots, 5-acre lots. We're not pressed for square footage of building site or anything, so.
Do we have a master plan? Is there more development planned?
Well, you've already reviewed them all.
So we did phase 1 in the northeast quarter here. That was the 24 lots that came in.
That's just not attached to this, the master plan.
Yeah,
this is part of that.
Well, it's
go a few more pages.
Yeah, it's on page 7 of 36. So he's already done phase 1 in full. That's why a lot of the data has already been submitted and reviewed as he did the full development for water with DANR and has Sage Waterworks is operating the system. Hydrants, the utility, the mailbox cluster is off of Keone Street.
Yep.
That was the requirement with the post office. They didn't want a mailbox up on Elk Creek Road there. Geotech, the homeowners did the geotech already for the lots that he's proposing, plus the well tank lot already had a geotech on it. West River Electric, he signed a developer's agreement with them to service. North Haines Fire Department's already sent a letter. Everything was already priorly done as part of the full Horizons 320 subdivision.
Quick question is, so these lots, there's already water lines to them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Are they dedicated for those lines?
Yep.
They fall within the road right away.
Yeah, but the road hasn't been dedicated.
No, there's a utility easement too. There's a prior utility easement.
So the water lines,
the water line is in between the 2 lots.
How does it get over there? Because, Bill, the only thing I worry about is if something happens and you don't develop any more of it and then you sell the remainder, but there's water lines, but there's no easements that show exactly where they're at. It's my only concern.
I think we did the easements. I think we did them prior to this. Now, maybe I'm mistaken, but I thought they were all done.
Yeah, because you might have put them in where you expect the roads to be built. Sometimes I see that where the developer will lay it in before. But
I know we had discussion, but I don't remember seeing it.
Well, yeah, I don't think it holds up to plat. It's probably something I would want to make sure that we're clear on before you get to final on these.
Okay.
Where's the dedicated right for the water
I
line?
think the documents are there. I'll see if I can find them. If not, we'll create them.
Okay.
So you want to see a water line user from the future lot to serve both lots 1 and 2?
Yeah, because if, like I said, if for some reason the development just stops and somebody buys the remainder, and then there's a water line going cross country somewhere out there that nobody knows the right exists for it to be there, right?
No, I agree. I think though it's already done, but I don't know, so I'll have to check. And if it's not done, I'll have Eric Howard create those documents and get them to Tanya.
Yep. That's the only question I had on that. Anybody else have anything else?
And not that it affects this, but it's close, is the, where does Ellsworth, where do they have their fly zone area through there? Is that
I don't know. They don't fly over me, so I don't know
But
where
it's not
they're
part
at.
of it, no.
Yeah, it's further to the east.
East
Oh,
would be
okay.
more Bridle Ridge area.
East and south.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
This is west of Elk Vale, all that flight zone stuff.
Anya, can you go back to that original land plan? Because I want to point something out again. I pointed this out from the beginning because it's a little bit unusual, but this southern half, there's 320 acres there, so the 160 acres, that's to the south there. I don't intend to put that into lots. I intend to put that into 5s, 10s, 20s, whatever. And when I originally did my plan, I didn't know what the market wanted, whether they want 5 acres, 10 acres, so I couldn't really show you exactly those spots. I'm beginning to understand it a little better, and I think probably the majority of that is going to be 5-acre lots. And so I think the next time that you see me, which will be soon, we'll get our engineering and everything done for the next group of 5-acre lots.
One thing that I would say is just make sure that for the master plan, the water system and storage is sufficient, so we know that we're going to have enough hookups. Because if you're only planning on doing 10s there, and now you're making 5s, you're doubling the number of the hookups down there.
No, we did that.
Okay, so just got to make sure that.
I think we had enough water for, it was approximately 130 units, 130 hookups. We got 107,000 gallons of storage.
Yeah, well, and you're going to have enough for a while. I understand. Whether to do them all on the master plan is going to become a question.
If the densities was to change, to say I had 250 sites or whatever, then we would probably have to add storage and.
Yeah, probably.
And probably have to drill another well also. So.
Okay. Other questions? Is there anybody else here to speak to this plat? Questions for staff? All right, somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve this with all recommendations of staff. Did we have any? I'm trying to go back
none.
here. We didn't have any, did we?
Nope.
Well, the road has to be constructed.
Road needs to be constructed and the water lines.
That he provide proof that there's water line easements, lots.
Yep.
Before the final.
I'm pretty sure we did that because the power company, for the power company, which was taking the same path as the water line, we had to provide that for them too. Yeah, because they can't just go out in the middle of a field. They got to have access.
Right. And I was thinking that we had that discussion one other time when you were here.
I know we talked about it from getting over from where the tank is to the subdivision up in the corner, but I don't know whether.
Yeah. I think they're done, but I'll get the documentation.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion is to approve the preliminary plat subject to the road getting constructed, showing proof that there's water line easements to the. Discussion on the motion. And all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Thanks for your patience today when we're going along.
Yes, I have to go through.
Yeah, well.
We're just testing you.
Yeah, you passed today. We'll tell you how you do the next time.
Thank you.
All right, so we have updates from staff, it looks like.
Yes.
Sturgis proposed extraterritorial jurisdiction, ET. So, everybody, who's here to speak? I know you wanted to speak to this. Somebody else here to speak? Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, why don't you tell us what's going on here? If you can decode.
Yeah. I'll just use this as an example. So I met with the city of Sturgis, a month or so ago. De-annexing, which has passed through the city of Sturgis. I think it's waiting 20 days. Whiskey Ridge Flats, which is this area right here, hatched. So it would move into an area either 1 or 2. The agreement is set up if it's in area 1, it's their plating. If it's in area 2, it's Meade County's plating jurisdiction. So they would like us to take over the plating jurisdiction for Whiskey Ridge subdivision, which is behind the football fields. Oh.
Area it falls in.
That was the agreement that was set up in 2020.
Yeah, but okay,
yep.
But so their modification is
they want us to take over that area too. Yes.
I can't figure out why they're de-annexing.
Well, it passed. Their de-annexation
Well,
did pass. So we thought area 2, because there's no area 1 around it. We already do all the area around it is already us. So the purple is area 1, which is the city of Sturgis's jurisdiction within the Meade County. So we just thought area 2 would be good because it meets everything else. It's within our area.
You think that, or Sturgis thinks that?
Meeting between both of us, we both thought that was a wise idea.
Okay, but it's my understanding they've already started developing that.
They started developing it, yes.
Okay, and we've had no say because it was in the city before, and they've already started doing the development.
Correct.
And then yet they want to push us back on us so we can be the mean guys saying no, we're not going to let you develop that, or your road, we don't care that you built the roads, or.
The reason why I understood they didn't want it in the city of Sturgis is because they cannot serve water, garbage, anything up there. It does not meet a city plating definition for their development.
It doesn't meet ours. Did they already give permission to stuff that doesn't meet us?
But we authorize people to do it all the time. They don't have to come in for a preliminary plat. They can do road work. They can install other water without having a preliminary plat.
Well, yeah, they can do that, but we don't have to accept it.
Right. I'm just bringing it to the table. This is what we were discussing as an idea, is it would be in area 2.
And this other little divot up here, what's?
That's Dvorak's property. That's a plat. So the majority of the plat runs along the red line, and it's a dip in the floodplain, so it can't be developed. So it was if any portion is in area 1, it has to be deferred to area 2. Or I mean, if it's in area 1 and there's part in area 2, it all goes to area 1. They called and asked if we would take it over also to do the final plating process instead of going through the city of Sturgis. This is being brought before you because it's never been done this way. If you read the agreement, it is supposed to, you follow the map on the dividing lines, and that's what you follow. The policy agreement is set out that way, that anything in Area 1 be constructed to city subdivision design standards. If you don't meet that boundary within the exhibit, then it has to be discussed between the two boards, between the city of Sturgis and Meade County. So they contacted me and asked if I would take in over Area 1, 2, and I said I would take it to the planning board for discussion purposes and to commissioners. That's what I am here for, to know if you guys support it or if you deny it.
If it's in area 1, that's just whatever the city wants. How that works?
Then we provide comments to area 1.
Who is their director? Is that
I've been working with Rick Bush.
Public Works?
Public Works, yes. And if
Currently
it's
maintains the road that front.
City of Sturgis. Yes. The road, no. The road remained in the city of Sturgis when the de-annexation took place.
So the border is on the other side of the road.
Yes.
So you're looking for some recommendation, or do we have to?
Actually, commissioners approve it. So I'm looking for recommendation if it's supported or not to move forward, and if it's not, then to let the city of Sturgis know that we suggest it be in Area 1 for their planning jurisdiction.
Do you know how much development has already started there?
The well is.
They don't have homes and stuff?
There's
already?
no homes. No, the roads are being placed, or are being developed right now, and so is the water system.
So are we being asked to weigh in on the move to Area 2 and 1 from the yellow parts, or are we being asked regarding the agreement as well? Well, you got the 3 mile area policy agreement. Are we being asked about that as well, or?
Right, so that has to be re-signed because the map gets, the policy gets re-signed because the map's being updated. So the policy reflects the boundaries on the map.
So the policy, the only change in the policy is related to the boundaries?
Yes.
Nothing else changes?
Nothing else changed.
And that's been previously approved by the County Commission, Meade County Commission?
Yep, and by City of Sturgis.
Well, the old one.
The old one.
Previous to boundary changes.
Yeah, so the city has a right to exercise.
Right.
Map's been in place
This last agreement was 2022, I believe.
Yeah, that's when they extended this border all around the airport in 2022.
And this is something that has been brought to my attention with the city of Somerset and Box Elder are both wanting to change their ETJ limits. With the growth that's going on, they would like more control or less in certain areas because they don't see the growth in that area. So this is.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Annexing property right next to
And what is the advantage to county taking on these areas?
Do you know what board meeting this was in the city that this was addressed in? I might have to go back and listen to the minutes.
The ETJ is on tomorrow's agenda. The annex, do you remember which one that was? November.
For this thing, little piece right here?
It might have been the meeting.
November 18th.
Anybody want to come from the audience and say anything about this activity?
John Jordan, livestock producer. I would be southeast of the airport. And my primary reason for being here is to make sure that I understand we'll call it TAN area, is the area 3?
It's area 2.
Okay, area 2. And was moved so that they had some control over the airport area.
Back in 22.
In 22, which is 2 years ago. Okay. So they have jurisdiction over the TAN area, area 2.
They review our plats. We do the platting, but they. I don't think they have veto power.
No, they don't.
We have to run it by them.
Okay, they get an opportunity to review it. Okay. I don't know if you've been out on 207th in a while, but it's an interesting area that's being developed. You know, you can live in a big box store, storage shed, or you can live in about anything out there.
Well, you're not supposed to live in a big box storage shed, but living spaces.
Well, it's just, it's headed our direction, so we deal with a lot of different things. Just part of the deal. We're used to it.
Yeah, they're living year-round in campers with no septics and...
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of thinking this would be an advantage, possibly.
Well, yeah, so the only real issue in front of us right now, John,
I understand the two little areas.
yeah, those two little areas, and it doesn't make any sense to me why the city can't. And the fact that they've let them begin construction on a development that they supposedly want.
Yeah, it would appear problematic. Yeah. I just used the opportunity since I came up here to educate myself a little bit.
Yeah, and as the people.
No, I didn't mean to.
No, I'm with you, and. It's a hard thing because you were here earlier when this gentleman was talking about, all the taxes he pays. We're trying to chase all this stuff down. We have a small planning department. Figuring out a way to come up with money.
No, I appreciate. I've been along here for a little while, and my dad was here before me, so I've heard the stories. Well, I appreciate your time. I just wanted to clarify where we're at.
Those lots should keep our property values down just a bit out there, you think?
Yeah, those.
You really don't want me to. You don't really want me to comment on that because you lowered the speed limit, which we own on both sides of the road for 2 miles to 35, and I thought this is terrible. And it's hard to explain haying in the summertime, but you switch to avoid fire, you go to nighttime. It's just the way it works if you want to not have a lot of fires. And my nighttime haying out there opened my eyes so much. 35-mile-an-hour speed limit is the least of my problems. The people out there.
People that are just driving around.
Oh, there's huge. It's interesting, and I got a lot of challenges. We could start on any other, North Rapid, whatever. Thank you for your time.
Thanks for coming up. Sir in the back, did you want it? You've been sitting quietly this whole meeting.
That's my new staff member.
Oh. Hopefully.
I know.
Yeah. Not getting paid a lot.
Yeah. All right.
So if we weigh in and say we're just not interested in taking this on, what happens next? They're just in kind of the Neverland. Yep. Mm-hmm.
The one on the northeast corner, this one up here, if that's the green, I'll just tell the surveyor he has to go through the city of Sturgis plating process. They can continue that one because it splits the areas or the property splits the area in half. So I'll just push it through the city of Sturgis. The county won't take it. It needs to go through a city plat process.
What's going on up there?
The Vorics are taking.
Vorics bought more ground.
Edwardson's now and Lopez's. They're taking eloquent description and platting 3 lots. One that's been in before and it's got kicked out because it didn't have DOT approval. So they had to work with the DOT for the last 6 months trying to get the approaches to work.
Off of Highway 79?
Yeah, off of Highway 79.
Yeah, and I'm sure all the same, you know, when you're, this other piece here is going up Sly Hill Road, and that's why the city can't put any utilities up there, but I'm not sure why they would allow any construction or road construction.
Are we taking action, or are we
Well,
just
we just make a recommendation to the commission.
Yeah.
How I understand what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm. Are you looking for a recommendation then? Or
Your recommendation, I'd probably let Rick Bush know for their planning board meeting tomorrow what our recommendation was also, so they
whatever's helpful for you.
theirs.
Yeah, well, I mean, whatever recommendation do you want?
We deal with rural development.
Yeah, except there's tons of area that they've got in Area 1 now that they don't provide service. Yes, I know. So
They're in city limits.
well, they just passed a They just passed a de-annexation, which will be official.
And they're not.
60 days after the publication and the filing of a revised.
Order then a motion to County Commission that the proposed ETJ be denied.
Well, yeah, it would be a motion, I think, to say, if recommend to the commission that fall within that.
So if in fact the road is still City of Sturgis, what is the disadvantage? I know we were wondering what the reasoning is, but what would be the reason if the road still is in Sturgis that the county wouldn't want to be the platting authority there? Is there
If the road's in Sturgis, I think Sturgis.
Okay.
So what?
I'm thinking these people wouldn't have to pay city tax.
But they're not going to pay city taxes now because they're not in it. So all there's going to be is who's got the responsibility to handle it.
Right.
Once they get de-annexed, the county can't stop.
Right.
So.
Platting and everything would still go through them, but the septic and all the building permits still go through the county. So by being in Area 2, I have more with the platting, with the building permits and septic, we have a little bit more for it instead of the city allowing all the engineering to be done.
Does that increase the county revenue? No. So you get to do more work for less money.
Flat fee, but I get building.
Okay.
A couple plat fees.
Yep.
Except, your same argument, then there should be no ETJ1 at all. So, somebody make a motion. We've been here a long time.
Yeah. You wanna? I was, or you can. We could arm wrestle. Well, I move we recommend to the county commission that the proposed ETJ amendment in regard to the annex area moved to area 2 be denied.
So the motion is you're recommending it should be area 1.
Correct. Yeah.
Second to that motion. Seconded discussion.
Aye.
Okay, dates next year.
Start a map is last discussion. Date. Yes.
So, thoughts, comments?
Looks good to me.
Yep.
This also shows a deadline.
Good. Whatever the staff wants.
That's
all right, do you
a
want
good
a
approach.
formal motion on that?
No,
then?
I just want to know if you guys are. No, I'll just get it published on the website and everything with those dates.
Second that.
Favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? We're adjourned then. Thanks, Tanya. I mean, there's a lot of issues to cover here. Well prepared, and comments were good.